Hi, welcome to Shannon Confidential. I'm Shannon, your host. This is a podcast about life, love, and everything in between. We're going to have a conversation today about some things that, might make you uncomfortable. Those awkward, embarrassing moments that happen to all of us. Yes, they do. You got a little fun. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And it happens. I don't care what you look like, and even if you're pretty, it happens to you too. So I'm going to fill you in on a couple of things that have happened to me, and they are embarrassing. There was this, I worked at let's just say a stadium, and we had a staff meeting where we had to present where our staff would be positioned for that event. And it's mostly men in the room, and a lot of them. It was all the supervisors meeting. And we all had to present where our staff would be stationed for this specific event. So I had my little tote bag, and this was my first supervisor role, and I was just so proud of myself. And I'm walking into, yes, my first meeting, and I put my little tote down, and one at a time we all had to work with our supervisor who was taking all the notes that we gave to this gentleman. And so I put my bag down, and I had worked so diligently at work that day on a color-coded spreadsheet of where my staff members would be, and I was so proud of myself, and I had logos and basic overachiever. But anyway, back to the embarrassing moment. So everybody is doing all their staff allotments, and I sit down in my proudest moment, and I reach into my black tote bag that I had just purchased, and I pulled out my beautiful color-coded spreadsheet with everybody's name, and not even realizing it, like a slingshot. Dear God, I'm telling you, this is what happened. Like a slingshot, something shot right out of my bag. And I put the spreadsheet down, and everybody's talking. The room went silent. And as I put my spreadsheet down, sitting right next to this supervisor, down lands, boom, right in front of him, black lace panties. No joke. I was so taken back by this that it didn't even occur to me that that's what just flung out of my bag. Now, it's a long day. You change, freshen up, that's why they were in there. But they shot up in the air. I put my spreadsheet down, they land. I looked down and at first I wasn't quite even sure what landed. And I'm looking at it, I see there, and I'm thinking, oh my God, those look just like my panties. Still not occurring to me that they're mine. And the room went silent, and my supervisor's sitting next to me, and he looks at them, and I look at him, and my first comment was, are those yours? And he's like, he looks at, I kid you not, he looks at me and goes, those are not mine. And then it hit me, oh my God, my panties just flung out of my bag and landed in front of my supervisor. Well, never to skip a beat, just reached over, balled them up in my hand, put them right down into my bag, and on I went with my presentation. But obviously, I'm still scarred. Still need to talk about it. Maybe I need a little bit more therapy, but that was by far one of the most embarrassing moments of my life because it happened in front of so many people. So I got to tell you, I don't know about you, but my day goes from one embarrassing moment to the other. And going back to, gosh, this was many, many years ago, but this was my first sushi experience. I thought I was going out on a date, and that I was going to show, I am so, mature that I can order sushi. Now, it was my first time ordering it. I had no idea. When sushi came to the table, thought it was lovely. I was ready for it. I saw, the soy sauce, the chopsticks. I was just ready to go. But what I didn't realize is why in the world would they put guacamole on your sushi platter? I didn't know. So me, all dressed up in my first date best, take my piece of sushi, it was probably nothing more than a California roll, and pick it up, and I scooped it, because who doesn't like guacamole? You gotta have it by the chunks. So I scooped my sushi into it and put it into my mouth. Now, for you that do not know, that is not guacamole on your plate. Do not ever think that you could put your sushi into a big dollop of guacamole. It's wasabi, which is one of the hottest foods on earth. It's my personal opinion. So I take my sushi and I scoop it into guacamole, put it in my mouth, and I'm sitting across from my date. And now I realize, what the hell have I eaten? I have no idea what's in my mouth right now. But it feels like it's coming out of my ears, but it actually came out of my nose. Yes, I had wasabi hell coming out of my nose. My eyes were watering. My date's looking at me like I'm about to keel over and die. He might have to do, the Heimlich maneuver or something. Again, another horrible, embarrassing moment. But you recover, and I've learned, do not dip your sushi in your wasabi. Now, I've heard some stories over from friends, some awkward moments. Let's just say, some of you might be able to relate to this. You get the little rumble in your stomach. Not that far from home, but you're too far from home. You know what I'm talking about. That you start to sweat. You think, I'm not going to make it home. Yes, you know where I'm going with this. You actually start to sweat. You think, oh my God. It's almost like as the closer you get to home, the road is stretching and it's getting further and further.
Run, Forrest, run.
Yeah, exactly. And you do different things to try to give yourself some time. And I'm not saying I'm speaking from personal experience or anything like that, but in any case, I am referring to a story a friend once told me, and she had her daughter in the car, and she says that she has truly scarred her daughter for life with this. So she did the things that we all do, maybe if you unbuckle your belt a little bit and just relieve a little bit of pressure, that'll buy you, maybe 30 seconds. You might be able to get in the door if you pop your button open. All those things are going to save time because you're not going to make it. And you know it. You feel it. It's bad. It's that bad, awkward moment. And in those times where you don't make it, nature calls. Sometimes you do that in front of people. Sometimes you do that in front of your daughter. Maybe that happened at work. What do? I've heard that story too. Kind of stuck in the bathroom stall and your clothes are soiled, to say the least. You've got to call your friend. God, please, you need to go to my house, go to my apartment. I need some more panties. I need some more clothes. You got to bring clothes. These happen, and I'm not trying to be gross or anything, even though I'm just I do poopy talk and I don't care. It is me. I'm just letting you know that this happens to all of us. It doesn't matter what you look like, big or little, what your social status is, how much money you make. We all have these moments where we just wish we didn't.
We all shit.
Yeah, these really shitty moments in life. And I have to tell you, there's a ton of stories I could go off, and I'm just looking at my notes here from so many friends that have called me about this. You ever have that moment in the elevator where you think you're in there alone? You get in alone, but got a little rumble in your tummy. Things happen, and you think you're gonna make it to the bottom so you can do a mass exit real quick, and maybe some hot guy comes in before you actually get off the elevator, but it wasn't you, right? That's one of those times, and I'm gonna be serious with this. Even if it doesn't happen to you, even if maybe someone got in the elevator and they had a bad body odor, or they had maybe a foul smelling perfume, whatever. They get in, you're in, they get off, their leftovers are in the elevator with you, and then someone gets in and looks at you like, Jesus Christ, what the hell is that? And you just kind of want to say, hey, listen, go to the security footage. The person in the video before me, that's the one who stunk up this whole place. It wasn't me. I wish you could actually say that. Well, I guess probably you could, but you're just so embarrassed that you just don't say anything.
Just stare down.
Yeah, you just look down. It's like it wasn't me. It wasn't me at all. And then I've had, and this actually is another story of mine because I will share them with you. The mistaken identity. I used to wave hi to people all the time. And after this incident, God, I hope I didn't break them up. I decided that, maybe it's best to just really be sure you know who you're talking to. So there was a neighbor of mine who had a little girl, brand new baby girl, and I was more friendly. The wife had a job that had her away from the house, so I wasn't overly familiar with her face, but I knew him. He was out and about in the neighborhood with his other kids. So I was at the mall. This was Coral Square Mall for any locals around here. And I saw this gentleman and his wife, and it's the first time I had seen them together since they had their new baby girl. So I make a point to walk over. Hey, how are you? They were the sweetest couple. They're like, fine, how are you? And I'm like, great. I'm like, oh my gosh, you look so good. I heard, your baby, how's everything going? and they're going on and on. Oh, it's been great. And as we're just having this conversation about how everybody in the neighborhood was so excited for the birth of their child. So after we go through this conversation, the mom takes the stroller and pulls back. And I was like, let me see the baby. Let me see the baby. Their baby girl. She pulls the stroller back, and there's a baby boy in the stroller. Not a girl. I don't have any idea to this day who I was talking to. I have no idea who they were. And I said to the gentleman, I'll see you around the neighborhood. I'm sure, I'm sure because if it was done to me, as soon as I walked away, she was probably like, who the hell was that? And who do you know in the neighborhood? I feel so bad to this day. I should have probably chased them down and said, listen, I got to tell you, I have no idea who you are. I told mistaken identity. But I do this all the time. Or you're walking down the street and someone is waving and you want to be nice, so you wave back. You're like, oh, hey, guy, I don't kind of recognize you, but you're being really nice, so I'm going to wave back. And only to see that they're waving and having a conversation with someone beyond you, and you're like, wasn't me. I wasn't waving at you. I was waving at the person past you. I have had friends who have tripped on Stairmaster machines at the gym, and they do, you're walking along, you got your beads, whatever, you're stepping, and you don't make that step high enough, and you kind of trip, and then they do, I got a cramp. They act like they have a cramp, or you trip on the treadmill. Come on, people, we've all been there. These are all awkward moments, whether they be at work or at the gym or at the mall. They happen, or in the car with your kids. When you have a stomachache. They all happen, and you probably don't want to talk about them, and that's okay because I just did it for you. But I'm here to tell you that we're all in this together. We all have those moments. We all have times where we just wish that, oh God, could I just rotate back and get that time back. But you can't, because as they say, the most embarrassing moments now are conversation at tonight's dinner. So hope you enjoy this conversation at tonight's dinner. And now this is where I want to ask you for your confidential questions. And that is where I'm asking you to email me at shannonconfidential007@gmail.com. Send your questions to me, questions, concerns, ideas. If you want to talk about today's episode, awkward moments, or anything else you want to share your awkward moments, please include your name if you like. You don't have to. You, of course, can include your social media. I will give a shout out to you. I will respond to you either on air at a future episode or on my social media account. So please include your social media as well, so I can be linked to you with my responses. I would love to hear from you. I want this show to be interactive, and I want to know what you're thinking, what you're feeling, not only about the episodes we're talking about, but anything in the future too. And I also would like to give, I'm going to call it my Be Kind segment. And this is where I'll take a quote that, is relative to the topic and have you take it with you into the following week. And that is, the embarrassment after the anger is the biggest humiliation a person can experience. Remember that. Take it with you. It's okay. And I do ask that all of you follow me on my social media, and on Facebook, I am Shannon at Shannon Confidential. On Instagram, I'm Shannon_confidential. On Twitter, I am Shannon Confide 007. On YouTube, Shannon Confidential. And again, my email is Shannon Confidential 00. Let me start that over. Isn't that an embarrassing moment? Shannon Confidential 007@gmail.com. Thanks, everybody. I've had a great time laughing with you, and I will see you next week. I am joining you, and you're joining me to a conversation that I don't know what I'm saying. So.
Okay.
This is a podcast about a conversation. No, actually, we're having a conversation. Okay, do that again. And this episode is about, can't remember what it is. Embarrassing moments.
Cut!